So we are a general engineering company, so we can pretty much put our hands to most things. A core line of work is structural buildings, essentially dairy sheds and builds, and all the yard work and animal handling around that. But then we also do transport repairs. We're fully set up workshop with brake press, guillotine. We've got do our own profile cutting. So a lot of it we can provide in-house. As far as agricultural work, we've done housing capabilities for most areas: cow barns, chicken sheds, goat sheds, deer handling facilities. So we've been sort of working alongside Warren at Essential Framing for quite some time, doing bits and pieces, and we've watched the development of X-CALIBR over the years. So we're looking at ways that we could put up a cost-effective product but still had very high value for money and good quality. And we looked at the X-CALIBR product and basically redesigned dairy sheds for starters in and around the X-CALIBR product. And one of the key things that we identified in the builds was time in the build and then time in the ground. And it's one of the probably the key things that affects a lot of builders, because they spend so much time in all the base work and getting everything together. So they're in the ground a lot of the amount of time in their builds. So what we came up with the X-CALIBR product was how fast we could put it up and have it covered, and then essentially the guys were out of the ground quicker on their build. Part of that process was actually being able to effectively shorten the length of the build. So traditionally, if you had a very good crew of guys, you would build a dairy shed over 16 weeks. We think comfortably with the X-CALIBR system as part of the build process that we've designed, we can shorten that build process up to 10 to 12 weeks, which is a significant amount of time. One of the other key things with the X-CALIBR product is the process that you've got in the background. For example, you want to start a build in the end of May, so you want to be on site in June. You're really wanting to start your structural fabrication at the end of February and around that time, March. So you've got March, April, you've got those 2 months where you can comfortably get it done. You've got to have a lot of background work. So where that changed with the X-CALIBR product, we can have a design made, we can have it all ready to go, and we don't have to push the go button. Effectively, we could go from fabrication to a stood shed within a 2-week period. Like that's quite game changing. Yeah, so currently it's quite exciting at the moment. There's been quite a bit of work done in the background over the last 5 or 6 years, and probably longer in wintering barns in New Zealand. I had the opportunity to see we were in Tapanui in Southland. So they've seen the potential back then. Obviously, they've got harsh winters down there in that particular area, and it's quite wet underfoot. So these guys have started housing animals quite a while ago. You don't really see it essentially so much on the North Island. But as that's progressed over the years, they're now seeing different results come out of these wintering barns. And one of the big results that they've seen is the increase in production. Having the ability to house them in winter, and then obviously keep them shade, so keeping the sun off them through the summer made a big difference. The potential for paying off those barns now is being recognised. So we currently come up with a design. We've come up with 2 different designs for wintering barns, and then we're looking into the composting barn. There's definitely people looking at the both systems. They're cost driven. So obviously with a composting barn, it's probably a cheaper form as far as your initial infrastructure, but it's a lot more maintenance on the upkeep of it, so they've got to maintain it more. There is a high level of trust that's in there, and they're wanting to know that the product that they're putting in place is of high quality. I mean, it's something that's has to go for many years, and that's why durability is quite an important part of it. So we've seen quite a few products come in from China, structural products that have have been defective, and you don't know the quality until you get it here. So you're not adhered to the same testing standards. So you could bring steelwork in and say it's a higher grade, and then it's effectively a lower grade, and but it's all cost driven. So it's trying to again deliver a product that that you can stand behind. And I suppose the key difference is when you're ordering products in from overseas, essentially when it lands here, you own it. When something's manufactured in New Zealand, we're not going away. We're here and we own it. And that sort of goes back to the other key part of the X-CALIBR process. All the zinc products that X-CALIBR and Central Steel Framing are using are all manufactured in New Zealand, which is perfect. X-CALIBR is the only product, and that's why we've been quite keen to use it in the agricultural scene, as the only product on the market that's got a higher grade zinc content, which is important for durability. Every other competitor that's on the market, as far as I'm aware, are only running Z250, which is pretty standard. You can see the durability in that. Again, the durability of the X-CALIBR is just that next step up. Every other competitor they've got a lot of time on site. One of the key things going back to the labour content, we recently talked to one of the guys that is one of the larger competitors, very well known in the market, and he's also had the experience of putting up an X-CALIBR building. And one of the comments that came back from him, the only comment that he could put forward that he didn't like about the X-CALIBR product is it went up too fast and there was no money in it for him. So what he meant by that is the other products, there's a lot of process in putting them up. So the box beams will arrive on site. When you're making your rafters up, for example, you have to cut your rafters to shape. You've then got to fit all your plates, set everything up, a lot of measuring, a lot of cutting, a lot of marking, very labour intensive. Every other competitor's products, so whether it's in the agricultural zone, commercial zone, are exactly the same. So there is a lot of labour in putting together all their parts. When the X-CALIBR product arrives from the factory, all the bracketry comes already pre-assembled. All the knee joints are pretty much pre-assembled. All you've got to do is rivet off your main rivets on your sections to make your gables up, which is pretty quick. So essentially that's the key part in cutting down that time. To this stage of the game, are the only ones in the market that are doing it. Everything that happens from the background, all these builds, and pretty much everyone will contest for that's involved in the industry, is there is a lot of things that go in behind the scene to make up the one part. So there's a lot of parts that are fabricated off site that are then brought to site. So again, one of the key parts with X-CALIBR is it shortens up that on-site process, which makes, for example, payment schedules for the project a lot simpler for the client because everything's compressed a bit quicker. Essentially, part of that process is we're hoping from the start to the finish of that process is a lot quicker, so that the farmers can get into their product a lot quicker and start getting a return on their investment.